Let's take it away.
Well, I'd like to ask two questions. Everyone listening, who do you know was impacted the lives of 1/4 of our Filipino people? 27 million people. Who do you know? Secondly, who do you know who's gotten direct aid that has affected 10% of our people? Well, guess what? He's right here, Aris Alip. This guy is fantastic. I met him as a young kid. He's still a young kid at heart because he's so energetic. And this guy, I met him in 1981, and he had this farm. He was at PBSP. I went there because I had a grant from Xerox Corporation in the States to etc. He was this guy. Who's this guy? He had this farm. He had all these vegetables, right? And then he was a candidate for Secretary of Agriculture during Pinoy's time, but something happened. But this guy is fantastic. Now, I want to tell you, that he was a Magsaysay awardee, which is like the Nobel Prize for Asia. He's fantastic. But let me tell you more about him. I'd like you to develop a personal relation with him because this guy is something else. So rather than give his talk, I'd like to let him know, just for 5 minutes, how he got into this. His story is fascinating. It's like God blessed him to help our people, right? And he's going to something that is so needed now, which is crop insurance. Crop insurance, good heavens. There's so little. He's going to do it private sector, for God's sake. How did he do that, right? So I like to say that this guy is fantastic. He's God's blessing to agriculture. And instead of him giving a speech, I'll tell him two things. Number one, Aris, give us like 5 minutes about how your journey, right? I know it's a long life, even though you look young, right? And you're more good looking now than before. Right? But, how do you get it? It's fascinating. It's like, God bless you, how you slept in the airport in Japan and stuff like that, right? How you got into it and what your commitment is. And then the next one is when you talk about this thing, talk to us about what is lacking and what you're doing and how we can help you because we're not students. So it's nice to be educated, but we want to be your allies in your quest, for a better Philippines. So tell us how we here can help. And some of us are deep into it, some are into it, but God blessed us with experience, with connection, etc. So I think you're totally well connected. But if there's any way we can help, for example, if you're not, I think you're fantastic at everything. But then we have connections to banks and government officials and NGOs and big corporations and all that. How we can help you, right? So two things. Number one, Aris, please tell us about, a bit of how you got into this. A fascinating life, right? Because we want to connect to you, not just intellectually, but actually emotionally, right? Because we want to connect with you. We want to be inspired by you. And secondly, when you talk about this whole thing, say how we can help you, if we can help you, okay? So Aris, I'd like to let you know that this is one of the top 5 guys that I admire in my life, right? Of course, my mom and dad are not part of the 5, right? But it's top 5. It's fantastic. We're honored to have him. So Aris, take it away, please.
Hi, Iris. You're on mute. You're on mute, please.
Thank you very much, Ernie, for the very generous remarks about me. I'm just a very simple guy. Thank you, Julius. And of course, thank you to the organizer, Bernie, who asked me to give some of the experiences that I have in microinsurance. So I'll talk in general, and I will zero in also in agriculture, if I can. May I request the Secretariat to flash my PowerPoint?
Aris, pagbigyan mo ako. I want them to know 5 minutes about your life, man. How you got to this, how you went to Japan, where to sleep and all that. Give us a few minutes para we get 5 minutes before you start your presentation.
5 minutes on how this thing started. Well, I was working, as you know, I also worked with Ernie. And he's the one who helped me in the analysis about the agriculture, the Bukay farm, 1 hectare farm. We're in Eco ata. Anyhow, yung ginagawa ko noon is about agriculture, a demonstration farm within which a 1 hectare farm pwede mabuhay yung isang pamilya. And we were able to prove that kinumbine namin yung integrated farming and kinumbine namin yung iba't ibang mga agricultural technology. But I was not so happy, Ernie, sa PBSP, actually, because I thought that I was really not helping the poorest among the poor. So I thought that the poorest among the poor in our country are the landless rural workers, and nobody's working with them. So that was the idea why I set up the CARD Foundation, wherein nakafocus siya sa agriculture, but more on the landless. And I thought that it would be best to give them land, but I cannot give them land because they're not part of the agrarian reform program. So I thought that maybe if we can help them in another way by giving them the ownership of a bank. So we established a bank that is owned and managed by the poor in our country. So that's how I got started. It was that passion, it was that dream. And it was a journey. It was there were difficulties, there were challenges along the way, and the rest is history. And right you are, I was sleeping in the airport for fundraising. I have no money. I even have to get my inheritance to my father. Buhay pa siya noon, sinanla ko yun, just to have money and help the farmers and the landless in giving them loans. So that's how I got started. And in fact, yung first slide ko, if I may, next slide, please. If somebody can help me in the, yan. Actually, ito yung yung pinagsimula namin. You can see here on the left side, sa may map. On the right side, I mean, we have CARD Bank, CARD SME Bank, the CARD RBI, at saka yung CARD Inc. Yung CARD Inc., ito yung pinaka mother institution of all, no? Which I established in 1986. That's about 36 years ago. And my dream was to establish a bank that is owned and managed by the poor. Fast forward, yung CARD Foundation, which is CARD Inc., has now have several subsidiaries. So meron na kaming 23 organization. Ang major organization namin is the banking group and the microfinance group. And that is CARD Bank, SME Bank, and CARD RBI. So totally, our clients is about 8.3 million now, 8.3 million families. And we also have our insurance group. Ito yung CARD MBA. This is life insurance, which I will discuss a little later. Yung 8.3 million namin, before we were just focusing on the landless, the informal sector. So these are the sari-sari store, the food vendors, etc., micro-entrepreneurs, small business. But I thought that we have to do something in agriculture. Agriculture kasi is very important in our country because 70% of our people are really in the countryside and also rely on agriculture. And the poverty is really on the agriculture sector. So we became very heavy in agriculture. From the 8.3 million, we have about more than 600,000 farmers already that we're assisting, and about 500,000 devoted in agriculture. So more than 1 million now that we're helping in the field of agriculture. So nagsimula kaming bigyan muna sila ng insurance, yung family insurance. That's why we have about 25 or 26 million or 27 million actually as insured individuals in the country. This is about 70% of the entire insured individuals in our country. But I thought that that's not enough, yung insurance na binibigay namin, because we established this MBA, the Members Benefit Association, because it only covers life insurance, loan insurance, and retirement fund. I think we have to give much more because marami tayong calamity, marami tayong earthquake, lalo na pagdating sa agriculture. So we said that we need to do something in the field of agriculture, and the best way is to have non-life insurance, which will be the subject of my discussion. Today we have about 33 billion in terms of loan outstanding, and in terms of our savings, because we have a bank, we have about 32.5 billion. there are times mas malaki yung savings namin generated from the public, which means that CARD is really a trusted entity in the countryside. So marami ang nagsasave. Even in this pandemic, we were very amazed that because of due to pandemic, we thought mas maraming magwi-withdraw, but we found out mas marami ang nagsasave during that time, no? And yung aming loan outstanding tumataas pa rin, which means that talagang kailangan kami, especially in the field of agriculture, because agriculture was a sunshine industry in this pandemic. Kaya yung mga taga Manila, mga ano, kaya may mga nakakain eh, because our farmers keep on producing. We have a very special program with 7-Eleven. Nadala nila yung kanilang backload kasi wala kasing laman. So we were able to cooperate with the owner, si Victor Paterno. And yung backload nila, yung lahat ng mga farmers produce namin from Baguios, yun na naghahakot. But this is not charity. This is very unsustainable arrangement, no? So nakakarating na yung aming mga farmers produce doon sa merkado ng San Pablo and other market in our areas. So tuloy-tuloy ito, and we hope that this will be the big thing about CARD in the future. This is the way to go. We're helping them in agriculture. We're talking to the fishing industry in Tarlac and Pangasinan to also bring their fish in the market in Balintawak and other markets in Manila, para kinakat na namin yung mga middlemen at mas malaki yung nagiging profit ng mga farmers. So again, I'm now focusing on the marketing. That's why insurance is very important. We're all over the country. We have about 3,500 branches, units all over the country. You can see it in the map in the Philippines. Nandiyan kaming lahat, all our offices. We're present in the 85 provinces of the country, including NCR. 96% of the entire cities and municipalities of the country, 96% of the entire barangays in the country. We are present in the last frontier of the country, in the south, which is Sitangkay in Tawi-Tawi. This is around only about 30 minutes away from Sitangkay, mga 30 minutes by farm boat, so 40 minutes na doon ka na sa Sabah. And we're also present in Batu Island. Batu Island is in South Cotabato. About 1.5 hours nasa Sulawesi Sea, that's in Indonesia. And of course, nandun kami sa tuktok ng north. We are also in Batanes. Sabi nga, rinig na yung tilaok ng manok sa Taiwan, no? And we have a full command of about 17,000 full-time staff. Medyo bumaba yan. Dati, ang full-time command namin is 18,000, but because of this pandemic, marami ang nagpahinga muna, but they are all returning as we are all recalling. Surprisingly, yung repayment rate namin, including our insurance, kahit na before pandemic is 99.49%. Almost perfect. Nung nag-pandemic, nag-dip kami to 94, 93%. That was in 2020. But by 2021, until now, we already have recovered. We're now back to 98.8%. So by the end of the year, we will be back by the pre-pandemic days. It's 99%. This only shows that the poor people can really pay. They're very diligent and they want to make sure that hindi masira yung kanilang credit record. So moving on to the next slide. Okay. Now, CARD MRI, I've already explained this. Pakiclick lang ulit para makita natin yung Pioneer. Yan. Okay. Now, ito ang magandang storya because we were only doing life insurance, yung aming MBA. And I thought that if we're in agriculture, in other businesses, pagka nagkakaproblema, nagkakabagyo, nasisira ang bahay, nasisira yung kanilang mga halaman, yung agriculture, yung business nila. So I had a chance to talk with Pioneer. Now, you know already Pioneer. I'll not explain that anymore. Pioneer is a very, very good and like-minded institution. It's a group of insurance company. It's a commercial insurance. It's a very big insurance, one of the top 5 insurance company in the country. So we hit together because the CEO, Mr. Chan, Lorenzo Chan, like the way we do, and he wants really to ensure na matulungan kami in hitting the bottom of the pyramid. So we came up with an idea, why don't we join together, come up with something innovative. So 50-50 kami, konti lang yung diferensya namin sa kanila, o yun sa kanila. So we have a unified vision, and this is the Card Pioneer, the birth of the first non-life insurance company that was established in September 2013, recognized by the Insurance Commission in providing non-life microinsurance product. This is the bottom of the pyramid. Of course, when Pioneer and I were talking with Lorenzo, the head of that group, medyo siyempre naninibago siya. How can the people pay? How can we reach them? Wala naman kaming paa because we're very urban. I said, we will use our network. Kami ang bahala. But there's only one thing I want you to do for us. I want your payments. Ito yung sinasabi ni Julius na nung nagsalita ko. I want to make sure that if there's a claim, ang gusto ko 135. Within the day, you must pay. If there's an issue, 3 days, with finality 5 days. So 135. I don't want any experience of other insurance company, 135. After 1 year, saka ka babayaran, 3 years, or even 5 years. Or after all, hindi ka na babayaran. So I want it immediate. And after several discussion, he said, okay, I agree, we will try that. And this is now our story. Nakakam up na kami ng maraming products. If we move to the next slide, please. Yan. So these are our products. Our products is really more focused on non-life. Now, the Philippines is always visited by 19 to 23 typhoons every year. Napakadaming typhoons. At pagkawawa yung aming mga clients. So we came up with Sagip plan and for individuals and Sagip plan for the family. Yung ano ito Sagip plan? Pag binagyo ka, nasira ang bahay mo, babayaran ka namin. Bibigyan ka namin ng payment. So magkano yan? Mga 5,000. It used to be 10,000. Pagka nasunugan ka, we pay you 20,000. Earthquake, we still pay you. So, ganyan. Na-aksidente ka, we'll give you 150,000. Magka meron ng burial, 20,000. So, 208,000 yung iyong benefit, no? With only 1,700. Ngayon, sabi ng mga members, and our members are mostly our nanays, mga babae, paano yung aming asawa? Gusto namin ding i-insure. Oh. So, nagkameron kami ng family sa gift plan. So, isinama namin yung asawa, pagka may nangyari, may namatay, binibigyan na rin namin kasama yung 2 anak. So may mga benefit din sila. So yung sa gift plan for the family, umaabot ng almost 300,000. Meron din kaming kabuklod plan, para naman ito sa fire insurance and other calamities para dun sa mga 3 members na nagsama-sama. And I said, okay, meron na tayo niyan, nasira ang bahay, protektado na sila. Paano naman yung health ngayon? Nagkameron tayo ng magkakasakit yung mga nanay, yung nagkakasakit yung pamilya. Pagka ganun na nangyari, substantial portion, 60% of the increased income of the family members pumupunta sa health, pumupunta sa hospital. So we came up with the health insurance. Yung health insurance, very affordable, 410, 1,900. Pag na-hospital ka, babayaran namin for 15 days yung lost income mo. So ranging from 200 to 500 pesos, plus bibigyan ka pa namin ng hospitalization, no? And then paano naman? I wanted to do also business interruption insurance. Oh, meron ka ng hospitalization, nasira yung bahay. Paano yung negosyo? Gusto namin yung negosyo pagka nasira din, meron ding tuloy-tuloy ang income. So we came up also with this Protect Kita. We're starting this first with sari-sari stores. We're pilot testing this, and this is now very popular among our members. So pagka nasunugan, you get fire insurance. Pagka binagyo, nasira ng kaunti yung you get 5,000. At maliliit lang yung mga premium na binabayaran. Yung premium nila, siyempre hindi makabulto yung mga clients namin, especially farmers. Sabi lang, wala kaming pambayad ng 2,000 agad. So we give it as a loan. and they pay us on a weekly basis. Napakaliit, 10 pesos, 20 pesos, 17 pesos. Okay, doon naman sa crop insurance. Sabi ko, naku, parang yung nakalimutan na ata yung ating yung agriculture sector, yung mga insurance. So we said, okay, so we came up with something, yung binhi, yung crop insurance. Although medyo mahal-mahal pa ng konti, but we're still now modeling it out. Pero marami na mga farmers namin ang kumukuha nito. 10% ng total amount of loan nila, kung 10,000, that's about 1,000 pesos yung kanilang insurance. Bakit mahal? Ernie, this is what MAP can do to help me. I've been lobbying long and hard. I just discovered yung non-life insurance natin, including agricultural insurance, health insurance, napakamahal ng premium tax, 27%. So kada piso na ibayad ng farmer o ng kliyente na mahihirap, 27 centavos pumupunta na kagad na premium tax. I-compare natin sa life insurance. Kaya life insurance is now very, very popular kasi napababa natin yung premium tax. 2% lang. Kada piso, 2 piso, 2 centavos lang ang pumupunta sa premium tax. Mas malaki ang kinikita ng gobyerno kasi maraming nagpapa-insure. Kasi insurance is the law of volume. It's the law of numbers. So dito sa agricultural insurance, because it's non-life, napakamahal. Kaya I think this is where we can help one another if we can push for the lowering of premium tax for non-life insurance, including agriculture. Marami ang papasok ng mga insurance company and there will be strong competition. Huwag na tayong lumayo. In Southeast Asia, we did a study. Tayo napakamahal. Ang non-life insurance nila umaabot lang ng 5% ang kanilang premium tax in Thailand, etc. and other countries. So napakamahal nun sa atin. Kaya nga ako'y napapailing. Sabi ko, anong sinasabi natin na financial inclusion na gusto natin tulungan ng agriculture? Ang missing link dyan, yung insurance. Yan ang mahalaga dyan. Kailangan talagang ma-push natin yung insurance. But I think the policy should change. The regulations should change on premium tax. Okay, next slide. So much for that. I know I have very limited time. Ito yung mga premium returns namin since 2013 to 2021. CPMI, because of the experience of Pioneer, at I cannot claim glory there. Wala naman kaming alam sa non-life. Life insurance, magaling kami doon. Yung non-life, talagang the expertise came from the Pioneer Group, kina Mr. Lorenzo Chan. No? So you can see, tumataas yung aming mga insurance premium and enrollments kahit na medyo mahal-mahal yung non-life insurance. So in 2014, we have about, this is not 0.66, it's actually 660,000 members. In 2015, 800,000 members. In 2019, umabot kami ng 1.7 million members that are insured, nagpa-enroll. Medyo bumaba ng konti in 2020 kasi siyempre pandemic, 1.2 million. Now it's on the rise. Tataas na ulit yan, 2021. Yung claims namin is, you can see, mataas din, no? Kasi kada may mga claims, nagbabayad ka agad kami. Now, let's look at the other slide. Yan. Ito yung major disaster claim. In 2013, tinamaan tayo nung typhoon, no? Yung Yolanda. We were the first responder. Ang total na ibinayad namin yung Yolanda and other calamities, including yung mga earthquake sa Bohol, we paid about almost 130 million, no? In terms of, ito yung sa insurance pa lang. Pero yung relief services, because part of our insurance benefit, nagbibigay din kami ng relief. Parang DSWD, nagbibigay kami ng pagkain and we help our clients. Kaya umabot yung aming mga relief services, including our insurance, payments, and other benefits. Umabot yan na 300 million pesos during the time of Yolanda. And you can see, every major typing, nagbabayad kami. You have 2014, devastating yung Glenda. In 2019, you have 4 typhoons. Umabot kami ng 160 million. 4 na malalaking typhoon, binabayaran namin yung ano. And this is on the spot. No? Pinupuntahan namin yung mga clients. Doon mismo ka nagbabayad, may dala-dala ng pera. Okay. So, even in 2020, we keep on paying. That's about 130 million. And marami dito pandemic cases din and also yung mga typhoon victims. And tuloy-tuloy yan in 2021. So, ito yung aming mga claims na payment na binibigay. This is under the 135. Next slide. Okay. Now, I'm sure Ernie and Company is excited with our PCIC. At ito naman ay napasama na doon sa Manila Bulletin and other news. This was headline or news in February 2022, early this year. This is also a great opportunity for us to work with PCIC, yung CPMI, our joint venture. But we are focusing on banana, on high value crop because this is really what are needed by our clients. Kailangan mag-ship din sa mga high value crop. Banana, cacao, coconut, coffee, onion, pineapple, sugarcane. That's about the initial products that we are discussing with them. We will take the risk, 70%, 30% lang yung sa PCIC. Pero ito yung gusto naming mangyari. Now, because we're still on the working table, I want to make sure that we make some innovation and depart from the traditional way of claims payment. First, I'd like it to be 135. Within 1 day, babayaran ka agad. Kasi sa agriculture, hindi pwede mag-antay. No? Pagka nasira ng bagyo yung ating mga halaman, kinakailangan the following day or few days later, kailangan makapagtanim ka agad. So, kinakailangan talaga, mabayaran ka agad ng insurance company. No? Kaya, I was also trying to innovate. Wag na nating isama muna yung mga adjuster, mga claims. Sorry to say, no? But I think the claims adjuster, pwede nating ibigay yan sa mga members ng CARD. So, and we have done it. Doon sa disaster insurance, health insurance, ang nag-aayos ng mga claims, nagbabalidate, are actually our leaders. And they can be trained. And we have trained them. No? At almost walang mga fraud kami kasi meron kaming first line of evaluation, second line of the evaluation, third line of evaluation. Pag namatay yung client, kailangan mo lang naman yung birth certificate. At saka kung wala pa yung birth certificate, yung death certificate, kita mo namang namatay. Kita ng mga community. And the community will never lie. They will always talk. Kaya kami, almost zero fraud yung aming mga mga claims. Kaya naman sabi ko, kung ganyan, kaya natin pabilisin yan. So, I felt that the claims for insurance is the same as demand on savings. If there's a demand for saving, the client needs to withdraw it right away. Give it right away. Pagdating dito sa insurance, pagka may claims, pay it right away. Don't wait for long time. So, this is the logic that we have. Now, we're still discussing with the PCIC. We're still working on this still being on the works kasi nag-change yung administration. We will have a steering committee. So, these are the wishful thinking that I have. Next slide, please. Okay. Now, bakit nangyayari yung mga ito? How do we handle and what are the lessons learned, no? And how are we able to do it successfully? Even our insurance, we never lost money. Nagbe-break even kami but we never lost money pagdating sa agriculture. We're still always on the profit side. One is because of the large number. The law of numbers in insurance. So ang laki ng base namin, we have about 8 million, 8.5 million. By the end of this year, we'll be around 9 million in terms of our membership. Customer focus. So we do and ensure na pagka may mga products kaming ilo-launch, this is coming from the clients. This is always, meron kaming focus group discussion, meron kaming tinatawag na listening from the clients, and before we come up with the product, it's really a very thorough study and well thought out yung experience. And of course, because this is insurance, mas mahirap ito kaysa sa microfinance, we have actuarial study. We have actuaries that do this also for us. And then the pricing is very affordable. We test this kung kaya ng mga clients. At kung hindi kaya ng clients, binibigyan namin ng loan, and the farmers and the clients are able to pay this in small amount every week. 10 pesos, 5 pesos, 20 pesos. So kayang-kaya, very affordable itong mga insurance na ito. And of course, the relevant promotions from our clients themselves, and simplified yung processes and simplified yung mga documentation. I don't believe in too much documentation. Yung kagaya sa mga loans namin, traditional bank requires kilos and kilos of documents and always this kind. I only need 1 page. I only need 1 page. Pagdating dito sa insurance, pagka may claim, I only need kung namatay, I only need the death insurance or certification. O pag may claims on the agriculture, we just have a validation from our leaders, and that's it. We're going to pay. Yung claims payment namin, because I think this is the most important value proposition that we have. Our claims payment is so fast. First, it's 135, one day, 3 days, 5 days with finality. But because of technology now, because CARD now has invested a lot in technology, including Pioneer, it's now 824. Within 8 hours, we can pay the claims. Maximum 24 hours. Bakit? May ATM, meron ka ng GCash, meron kaming connect to card, meron kaming mga different channels, and then pwede mo nang ipakita sa messenger or ipakita through email yung mga requirements, and then you can pay. So we are now also have upgraded our claim settlement to now 824. Within 8 hours, we will pay. And the longest would be 24 hours. Maraming salamat at magandang umaga sa inyo lahat. Thank you for listening.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Medyo kukulang na ng time eh. Sorry.
Yun po.
Mr. Chair, may I say something?
Yes, please, Ernie, please, go ahead.
Just the timing, no? Kasi alam ni Aris na 8 to 9. Pero Aris, kasi mga client naman, we want to be like you, young like you, no? So the people working, they said end at 9. Kaya lang, bitin, right? So right now it's 8 minutes. So we actually have a 9 to 10 for informal, but get it or not, 80% stay. Ngayon, ikaw, can you stay up to 10? Up to what time can you stay, Aris?
Sure. I'll stay.
Yan. Talagang man of God ito. O sige, I just want to let him know na he can go. He doesn't have to rush so much, no? Or else he'll fall into the fault of talking too fast, which is my fault. Sige, Julius, go ahead. But alam niya, we can go up to 10. Thank you, Aris.
Oh my God. Yeah, thank you so much, Aris, for deciding to stay with us until 10, because my God, this is, you know, as I was listening to your presentation, I was horrified when you said that the tax on crop insurance is 27%. Sobrang nakakagalit po.
Totoo yan.
Na may ganun palang concept.
And this
Yes
is
po, yes po.
mahirap talaga. So how can you push insurance kung ganyan ang for the poor? Kung
Yeah, I mean,
taxation is not so good.
oh nga, oh my God, I'm so tawag dito. Okay, anyway, so thank you again very much for your presentation, Aris. Kahit ako, there are so many questions I'd like to ask, but obviously I'll give way to everyone else first. So again, a few reminders to everyone. Thank you very much for being with us. There are a few questions already in chat box. If you have questions, thoughts, or comments, please put it in the chat box. Otherwise, you can raise your hand. Please look for the button of your screen that says reactions. Okay, click that, and then you should see an option that says raise hand. That will line you up for our open forum. Okay. And as Ernie mentioned, we do end our formal forum at 9 o'clock, which is in a few minutes. So there are, Cesar Gomez actually told me that he has to leave at 9. So I will ask Cesar to ask his question first. Cesar, do you have a question that you'd like to ask?
A naughty question for Dr. Alip. When will you become a party list? If you have plans.
Well, actually marami nag-aalok na mag-party list ako, but I said hindi ata ako hindi good mix ang politics and microfinance, microinsurance. So I've been away from politics. And we have experiences in the past. Even my colleagues from Bangladesh, Professor Yunus, pumasok sa politika, and that was his downfall. And I have a friend in Japan, pumasok din sa kasi nag-iiba yung color. That's why I wanted to preserve really the microfinance and the microinsurance industry. And kaya hindi kami humahalo sa politics. And this is good. And we have the 6th administration already, including now we have BBM administration. And I think we'll be able to work with any administration because our mantra is poverty eradication in our country.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for your question, Cesar. Okay. Our next question, sorry, so there were a few questions that came up in our chat. Sorry, our next question comes from Leonie Montemayor.
Aris, magandang umaga.
Hi, Secretary. Kumusta ka na?
Dear colleagues, first time I interacted with Aris, if you recall Aris. You were
Yes,
the
yes,
Center Director in Calauan, Laguna of the PBSP Center for Rural Technology Development. And we had a very nice seminar there with our farmers groups way back, I think, in 1981. If I'm not
That was
mistaken.
81, 82. Yeah.
82, oo. Under PBSP, si Ernie Garilaw ang kwan nun. National Director. So over that time, now and then I followed your career, and I'm so happy with all the strides that you have made, and you have very pioneering work, lalo na sa microfinance. And for that, saludo kami sa iyo, Aris. Ngayon, tungkol naman dito sa crop insurance, I'm sure you are very aware this is a very challenging and probably a very difficult arena. That's why I noticed halimbawa na ang papasukan nyo muna na produkto o crops are the, shall we say, quote-unquote, easier ones. Sugar cane, cacao, coffee, etc. So, kasi kung papasok kayo sa pali at mais, medyo palay ko, delikado agad eh. Di ba? Baka isang bagyo lang kagaya ng kwan, o baka ubos na yung kapital ng Pioneer at saka ng CARD. So, I wonder if you are aware of this difficulties, and how will you address the situation to avoid any possible pitfalls? Kasi lalo sa umpisa, importante na maganda as much as possible yung mangyayari. And then related to that, isa na lang siguro, Aris, maybe if I could suggest, baka isang magandang area na it can also dovetail with the focus now on, for example, the coconut sector. Kasi meron tayong bagong batas, a certain amount is allocated that includes insurance for coconut farmers. And looking at your initial crop coverage, you're looking at cacao and coffee, ito ang priority intercropping products that will be supported by the new law. So baka, Aris, magandang magkaroon ng magandang collaboration with PCA, maybe with coconut farmers groups, focusing on intercrops. And maybe dala na rin yung natin, yung coconut trees as the main crop. Yun lang muna, Aris. Thank you.
Thank you, Sec. Actually, yung aming binhi program, kahit na mahal-mahal lang konti, hindi kami nalulugi. Kasi law of numbers nga eh. Nagsimula kami dun sa North, no? At saka yung ini-insure namin, yung mga maliliit na mga tenants at mga farmers, mga half hectare, 1 hectare maximum. Basta nabayaran namin kaagad, repeat sila ng repeat eh. Basta nakikita na lang binabayaran. So, minsan lang kami medyo nag in the black, naging red, pero most of our seasons hindi kami nalulugi kasi nga it's a law of numbers. Kaya medyo hindi siyang simbilis ng ibang mga aming insurance kasi nga medyo mahal yung insurance pagdating sa crop insurance namin, which is focused on rice and corn. Kaya nga sabi ko, ang maganda dito i-challenge yung insurance tax, yung premium insurance tax ng agricultural insurance. If it can be done, mas mapapababa namin yung premium eh. I think we can do it even lower at 200 per 1,000 eh. Kaya namin yun eh. Kasi nakita na namin yun eh sa law of numbers eh. At saka ang kagandahan to, because we're spread all over the country, pag binagyo ka sa north, may magdadala sa amin eh. Nakita na namin yun. Binagyo sa north yung aming mga members, dito sa south dadalhin ng kasi wala namang bagyo. Dadalhin ng taga south, dadalhin din ng mga taga Visayas and some part in Mindanao. Kaya nako-cover yon. Pag binagyo ang Mindanao, ang Luzon hindi binabagyo, ang Visayas hindi binabagyo. Kaya nag-even out. Nung nagka-Yolanda, akala ko ang laki ng aming mga binayaran no sa Yolanda. Even our loans we have to do a moratorium. Nasa almost 500 million ang aming inalpasang pera noon. Akala ko medyo tatagilid. Hindi kasi hindi naman tinamaan yung Luzon. Hindi tinamaan yung Mindanao. So nagdadalahan siya. So that's why our microinsurance companies okay naman, we're always on the red. In fact, we are now listed by the Insurance Commission, yung CPMI, even our MBA as one of the best performing insurance company. Pagdating doon sa income, nag-number 1 pa nga kami over the past years. Now, yung tinatanong niyo Sec na tungkol doon sa coconut high value crop and coffee. Actually kasama yon doon sa aming panukala with PCIC. Kasama ang coconut, coffee, yung mga naka-intercrop. But I'm glad you mentioned also na pwede namin makipag-coordinate sa PCA because I think this is what we want to do with them. And although merong COCOPED o yung Coco Insurance ata with UCPB, but we're willing to also provide the needed insurance if it is needed. So, masasabi ko, we're willing to take the risk kasi pero yung risk namin is calculated. Kaya nga ang key na sinasabi ko rito, we will have to innovate itong aming partnership. Kinakailangan mabilis yung payments. At kung maaari, cut the bureaucracy, bawasan yung wag nang magkamero ng mga adjusters kasi ito minsan nagpapabagal din. And why can't we do it na yun mismong from the area? Yung aming mga leaders ang ginagawa naming talagang mga adjuster. And we have trained them and they have proven that they're very reliable at very credible.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Leonie, yung tanong niyo po. Okay, so it is 9 o'clock as our president, Ernie, mentioned earlier. We do end our formal session at 9 o'clock and then we proceed to our informal session where we continue our open forum. So again, Aris, thank you very much for staying with us until 10. But for now, for those of you who do have other appointments, other meetings, or other scheduled things to get to, thank you very much for being with us today. So before we end the formal session, I'd like to first award our certificate of appreciation to Aris. So the certificate of appreciation is presented to Dr. Jaime Aristotle B. Alip for his invaluable support, really invaluable support in the advocacy and promotion of agribusiness and countryside development, and for his incredibly commendable and unselfish services rendered to this foundation, and not just to the foundation, but to the Filipino people as a whole, as our resource speaker, and for providing all of these insurance services at our 33rd weekly online meeting for 2022, given the 6th day of September in Makati City, Philippines. Well, online. Okay, signed by myself as chairman and by Ernie Ordonez as our president. Thank you so much, Aris, for all your services to our country. Now, for those of you who enjoyed our session, who have been enjoying our sessions, next week we've got a very interesting topic coming up. So let's just flash on screen. Our session for next Tuesday on September 13, 2022 for our 34th weekly forum. Can we flash that super quickly? Yes, so that's Mushroom City. Mushroom City by Edsel Bong Quemado Jr., a fifth Villar Sipag Award as most outstanding youth social enterprise. Bernie, thank you so much for inviting Bong to our session next week. I'm sure for those of you who are interested in the what you call this in the nascent industry that is mushroom production in the Philippines, I'm sure this will be an excellent topic for you to join. So for those of you who do need to go ahead, thank you very much for joining us. And we hope to see you next week for our next weekly forum. Okay.